And this evening on the campaign trail, I am sitting with the NDC's Director of Inter-Party and Civil Society Relations. He's also the party spokesperson when it comes to agriculture. Dr. Peter Boamah Otokunor is my guest this evening, and he has joined me in studio to have a conversation on the campaign trail. Doc, good evening.
Good evening.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great.
It's been very busy for your party. You've been engaging civil society, also engaging media, all of us, to let us know your concerns and also to present your evidence to why you are calling for a forensic audit of the voters register. So why don't we just get into the conversation this evening? I mean, yesterday, that gathering happened at Mikado. Tell us more.
Okay, so it ought to be busy. I mean, the accounts have a saying that your town and to me we can't get tired because we need to change this government, this incompetent, corrupt government. And that means that everything that we have to do to make sure that the will of the people prevail, we have to do so. And that's why yesterday we engaged the civil society organizations. That is just one part of the processes to make sure that we have a credible elections on December 7th of 2024. And so yesterday is one significant event, it's one significant feat, because we believe that we are in this together. It's a collective mission. It's not an individual mission. It's not the NDC's mission. It is all of us, our mission. But essentially, we need to open up for every other Ghanaian to understand and see things from our perspective. What we are seeing, the work that we have done, nobody has done that work. Even the Electoral Commission themselves were shocked with the revelations that we were able to discover. And so it means that we have to carry everybody along, because if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And so in line with going together, that is why we congregated various civil society organizations, most labor unions, and we brought faith-based organizations and other identifiable groups to share our revelations that we have discovered with them, so that we seek their thoughts and see how we can consolidate a position to get the Electoral Commission to act and act right. All we are saying is that the Electoral Commission has the obligation and responsibility to conduct a free and fair elections. But we have seen that the Electoral Commission, their conduct, their behavior does not portend a group that is willing to, conduct a free and fair elections, because they have shown bias every single step.
They've shown bias every single step?
Open, blatant bias every single step of the way. And because of that, it has heightened our vigilance. We have seen what they did in 2020, and based on that, lessons have been learned, and the lessons are what is keeping us ahead of the Electoral Commission every step of the way. You would recall that from 2023, every single electoral process, from the registration to exhibition to even the district assembly elections, which was non-partisan, we were very keen on the processes, catching the Electoral Commission every step of the way, from the errors of Cora draw to the numbers and to the registration to exhibition to transfers. And the discoveries we have made are staggering this time around. We have 74 days to elections. We cannot afford to joke and play and gamble with what the Electoral Commission is doing. And that's why we have been trying to court support from across board, including even the media, to speak some sense into the minds of the leaders of the Electoral Commission. They should bear in mind that as a commission, their core principle should be transparency, integrity, and fairness.
And for you in the NDC, the EC has not demonstrated these.
Absolutely far from that. They have exhibited gross opaqueness in their activities. They have exhibited low levels of integrity, and they have been absolutely biased in all the processes that is leading up to the elections. And it gets very frightening, because when your democracy starts struggling, when people lose confidence in the democracy, then your nation is at the verge of collapse. Your nation is at the verge of decimation, like the others have gone through war and so on and so forth. And that is our fear. Now, all research reports are indicating that over 60% of the people of this country have no confidence in the Electoral Commission. That is staggering and that is frightening. And everybody should be worried. Moral society should be worried. Civil society should be worried. Religious society should be worried. Businesses should be worried. because you can't have an electoral commission that is supposed to be the anchor for democracy, which democracy is the only guarantee for change of government, for hope in the people. When the people have grown so hopeless and there is no hope for change, there's no hope for any progress, then they resort to any form of violence. You have seen what has happened some few days ago with the free fix the country or the democracy hub.
The democracy hub, and then the arrests of the protesters over the weekend.
The exhibition of the anger should be a caution to government. The exhibition of that level of anger should be a caution to the Electoral Commission. Because what the gentleman did on the streets is not a product of any deliberate ploy to just create chaos and nuisance in society. It is hunger and anger. And indeed, those who are very angry and are ready to do anything to restore dignity and integrity into the governance of this country are not really those politicians. They are not those in the political parties. They are neutrals who don't belong to political parties. And those gentlemen do not belong to any political party. And see what they are able to do. So if they are able to do this, you can imagine what political party foot soldiers will do if elections are botched, if election processes are rigged. And so we should all be worried.
Right.
Electoral Commission should be worried. And so what we are doing God's work to save our nation. And we believe that the Electoral Commission must listen.
Okay.
They must be forced to listen. Bear in mind that the power that the Electoral Commission holds by law, by the Constitution, is the people's power, that the people have subletted small to the government, the president, which president has appointed them and subletted small portion of the small power we have given the president to operate. And so they cannot be bigger than the country. They cannot be bigger than the people. Their views and objectives and expectations are not absolute. And so, what is the case? We have an electoral system. This Electoral Commission came in 2020. They said that the systems were obsolete. And so they wanted to spend some 1 billion Ghana cedi to build a new system. We resisted a robust system that can stand the test of time, because the register was only 4 years old. And we resisted. But they insisted that they had the best system. So we spent 1 billion of Ghana's taxpayers' money to put in a system. Which system got members, Ghanaians registered in 2020. Then only in 2023, we started having problems with the system. Then this same system, in 2024, just 4 years on, is not able to efficiently compile registered people, efficiently compile a composite register for an election. You should be worried. You should be worried. Now, our revelations, as revealed yesterday, is that there are some 243,000 people who they claim have been transferred, who actually do not exist, and we do not know where they are coming from. And we have requested the Electoral Commission to explain. Remember that we have engaged the Electoral Commission. We have given them the data. We have expressed the details and showed them everything. And we have requested that from the tools that we used to do the analysis, to do what you may call an audit, we think that there may be a deeper crisis ahead. There may be a deeper problem that our systems could not observe. Because if the Electoral Commission was not able to observe what we have observed, and that was the register they produced, then we are in trouble.
Right.
We are in big trouble. And so what we are saying is that Electoral Commission, we have given you the details of the problems that we have discovered. But because our system was not thorough and it was not forensic enough, the information we have provided may just be the surface.
So for you, there could be more in terms of
more.
the challenges that currently have plagued the register.
Exactly.
Right.
So go in further and do a forensic audit to discover more of the errors and the irregularities so that we can fix them, because we have only 74 days to the elections. By law, CI 127, the Electoral Commission is supposed to provide a completed register to political parties 90 days before the elections. We are 74 days to the elections. And we have not received the register. So do the forensic audit. Let's quickly correct those errors, which may be more, But most importantly also, the forensic audit would also audit the systems so that on election day, we will not be smiling at the wrong sides of our mouths.
And interestingly, you hit the streets to make these concerns known to the Electoral Commission. You presented petitions to the Electoral Commission, and you said you were waiting to hear from the Commission on these anomalies that you have identified and the calls that you are making for a forensic audit into the voters' register. It's over a week now. Have you heard from the EC?
Absolutely not. What we have heard is flippants of responses, funny commentary, and if you want, comments that are contemptuous of the views of Ghanaians.
Which commentary have you heard?
You heard the deputy commissioner saying that the errors that have been seen have been resolved, and they have also come in some instances and said that we should give them all the errors, which errors we have presented to them anyway. You understand? But most importantly, on the issue of forensic audit, we have not heard anything from the Electoral Commission. And so that's why we held the engagement yesterday. Today it's almost 6 p.m.
Right.
The Electoral Commission has still not responded to our request. And we have indicated that there are so many possible options of mass action that we are going to undertake if the Electoral Commission does not respond. But most importantly also, we don't want our mass action to look like an NDC mass action. We want the mass action to look like a nationalized action, which is very fundamental to the survival of our democracy. And that's why we have been doing all these conversations around, so that people can follow us and share on the same page with us our understanding and thinking, and why we think that there must be a forensic audit. And so we would continue with this advocacy.
And I'm sure that you've also heard from the NPP. They have also served notice to the EC that if the EC yields to your calls for a forensic audit, they would also hit the streets and demonstrate against the EC.
That is one of the most ridiculous. In fact, I don't know what happened to the NPP that they have deteriorated to this level. And when I saw the statement, I remember sharing it with Dr. Boamah, and I said, I just wrote, this is sad that the MPP has been reduced to this level. I don't know whether there are no elders in the party or not. We are demanding a forensic audit to fix a register in an election that you are going to participate. If you do not have anything to hide, if you are not in cahoot with the Electoral Commission to rig the election, to steal the election, then what is your problem? If there's a forensic audit, independent forensic audit, to fix the problems in the register, how do you have a problem with that? And how do you intend to hold a demonstration to resist a forensic audit? We are not saying NDC should do the forensic audit. Indeed, we have done our audit, and we have exposed some of the errors. So what we are saying is that let's get an independent body, independent institution to conduct a forensic audit into the register and into the systems to help you, the MPP, and us, the NDC. And you see, the funny thing is the duplicity, the hypocrisy that is exhibited by both the Electoral Commission and Madam Jean Mensah of the Electoral Commission. Madam Jean Mensah of the MPP and Madam Jean Mensah of the Electoral Commission. Madam Jean Mensah of the Electoral Commission in 2015 was leading the IEA. She led the charge to demand for a forensic audit of the register. The MPP were in support for a forensic audit of the register. At the point, we felt that there was no need for a forensic audit of the register. But indeed, when push came to shove, there was a forensic audit, there was a court ruling, some people were removed, there was re-registration that was done to make the register more credible and strengthened. And so, what is wrong with the position of Jean Mensah in 2015 and the fact that she doesn't want any forensic audit now? I think that the media should have a lot of questions to ask the Electoral Commission. What exactly is the reason why the Electoral Commission cannot subject its systems and the register to a forensic audit?
Well,
what
they say
there
is no need for that because they have trust in the robustness of their system to be able to deal with whatever concerns that you have as a party.
So what happened to the trust and the errors and the irregularities, widespread irregularities that we have seen with the register? What happened to the trust? What happened to the system? Every step of the way, their processes have been riddled with unnecessary errors. Unnecessary errors. Both with the numbers, the accounting, to the extent that they said they use the Corel Draw to do statistical work. And graphs. You use Corel Draw to do graph. Will you use Corel Draw? Even JSS students will not use Corel Draw to do graphical work. You understand? And so the incompetence and its attendant irregularities is becoming unbearable. And it's becoming frightening because it has to do with elections. Joshua, elections is the heart of every society. Every society. And I tell people that even animals go through elections. When you put your animals together, you see that they will start knocking each other. They are doing elections. They are looking at the strongest to lead. Right. And so elections is very crucial. Okay. Elections can be bloody. Elections everywhere is bloody. Even in 200 years democracy, America, elections is bloody. So you don't joke with elections.
Okay. So what's the way
forward? When there are concerns before the elections, you fix it.
The EC has not responded to you. It's past 6 p.m. today. What's the way forward?
We are currently reviewing our processes and looking at the next options, and we'll announce them as and when we are ready to announce them. But what we are going to assure you is that we are not reneging. We are not reneging at all.
But are you disappointed that you've not heard from the EC at all?
Well, disappointed would be understatement, because we have been disappointed long ago. Over 5 years ago, we were disappointed. So disappointment would be an understatement. We are appalled. We are completely appalled by even the delay and the nonchalance and the fact that the Electoral Commission are not even giving us a proper response and reason why they cannot conduct the forensic audit. We are appalled. It's so bizarre that the Electoral Commission cannot tell the people of Ghana that, okay, because of A, B, C, D, when we do the forensic audit, maybe our system will crash or we will suffer this. We will not be able to do the election. They have not been able to utter a word.
And what happens if the EC does not heed the call at all? And so we get to December 7 without a forensic audit of the register in this current state. What would happen?
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. And you see, yesterday there was this comments from some of our colleagues from the CSOs suggesting that, so if the Electoral Commission does not do anything, what are you going to do? What is the NDC going to do? And I got very frightened. I cringed because it's not about the NDC. This battle is never about the NDC. My brother, when you live here, and you are going to buy fuel, do you show party card? You don't show party card. The price you buy fuel is the same price I buy fuel. When you are going to buy Kinky at 5 cedis, they don't look at your face and say, you are MPP, so you buy at 3 cedis. Or you are a Star FM journalist, so you buy at 3 cedis. You buy at 5 cedis. I buy at 5 cedis. This is a collective struggle. And we can only deliver results through collectivity. It is in our collectivity lies our strength. So it is not only the NDC. Why? The Galamsey water, which is causing the demonstration by the Democracy Hub. Is it only affecting Democracy Hub? It is not only affecting Democracy Hub. Today, when you were coming, your tap was not flowing. It is Galamsey. I have had the same situation 3 weeks in my home. Water is not flowing. Galamsey. Even the borehole are now being infected. It is Galamsey. So somebody must speak. Who would speak? Why is it always somebody? Everybody must speak. If everybody doesn't speak,
right,
and it crashes on all of us.
Okay.
If we lose this democracy, Joshua, you will not be here reading the news because you will not even be allowed into your studio. You understand? Very good. Definitely. And so it is our collective responsibility to protect this democracy. And so you have a role to play. You should be on the Electoral Commission morning, afternoon, evening, trying to seek answers. Whilst we also do our part. So that you do your part, I do my part, CSOs do their part. Churches, religious bodies, Muslims, and labor unions also do their part. Okay. Collectively, we are able to protect and safeguard our democracy.
Well, this is the campaign trail here on Star 103.5 FM. My guest in studio this evening, Dr. Peter Boamah Otokunor, the NDC's Director of Interparty and Civil Society Relations. And of course, he also speaks for the party when it comes to agriculture And so we'll be getting into the subject matter of agriculture and its attendant challenges that we are facing now. You talk about Galamsey. Doc, before we went for that one, you were speaking about Galamsey, and now the fact that we have people who are on the streets basically telling government, let's end Galamsey. And cocoa farmers are also crying with regards to how this is impacting them. I mean, the next NDC administration, if Ghanaians decide to give you the nod, what different are you going to do in this fight against Galamsey, especially because of its impact on agric?
Let me start off by giving you some revelations. Are you aware that in 2018, cocoa alone contributed $3.2 billion to the ultimate wealth of this country? Are you aware that as of last year, in fact, 2017, it was about $2.8 billion. As of last year, it contributed only $232 million to our GDP. And this year, we may get only about $180 million or less. And it has been estimated that this year, our target for cocoa, our cocoa obligation to the international community, we are going to fall short by almost about 350 to 400,000 metric tons. The reason is very simple. Because of this Galamsey menace and the mismanagement and the corruption that has engulfed the cocoa management industry. That's all. The cocoa industry. That's all.
So it's mismanagement of the cocoa industry
mismanagement,
and then Galamsey,
corruption,
on the other hand.
and Galamsey. You see, cocoa thrives on a certain climate. And the climate is provided by the vegetation. And that is why when you look at the agroecological disposition of Ghana, cocoa only thrives in the forest zones, the forest savanna transition zone, and the rainforest zones. So you have the western region, western north, the Ashanti region, eastern region, and parts of the Bono region, being the main areas that we grow.
The cocoa grain areas.
And these are areas that the gold are also discovered. Now, because of the rampant, illegal mining, Galamsey exercise in those areas, the climates in those areas are changing. It has affected the rainfall patterns, and it has affected crop yields, not only cocoa, all other crop yields. In fact, incidentally, in the forest transition zone and parts of the savanna zone that is able to grow cocoa, they also grow tomatoes.
Right.
And that's why we have tomato shortages. That's why tomato prices are going up. You understand? We are spending $400 million to import tomatoes every year. Yeah. $400 million. And that's how bizarre the situation has become. So we are losing out on cocoa. We are losing out on all the other crops. We are not even getting cassava anymore. This year, we are not able to produce maize. We are not able to produce soya bean. We are not able to produce sorghum. So this country is in serious food security crisis.
Onions, we are even importing so much onions now.
Onions. In fact, we import almost everything, including akwele wabi. Do you know akwele wabi?
Yeah,
Shitore there. Akwele wabi. We import akwele wabi, which used to be a Ghanaian mainstay. Now the Chinese people are producing more than that. They took the akwele wabi from here and they are producing. Are you aware that the Chinese are producing cocoa now? Very soon they are going to compete with us on the international stage. Ghana used to be the #1 cocoa producer. Now we are even struggling for some small position somewhere. And so it's a bigger problem that we need to fix. And we need to fix it immediately. But you see what is even striking though is that the gold that we claim to be so important and so resourceful that can contribute so much to the economy. Are you aware that 60 to 65% of this gold is being mined through Galamsey and illegal small-scale mining? 65%. So the entire gold production of Ghana, about 65%, is being mined through these illegal processes and small-scale mining.
That leaves about just 35%.
Just 35% for the main regularized legal mining. And you know the interesting bit? The interesting bit is that out of the 65% of those illegal mining and Galamsey and the small-scale mining, that 65% contributes less than 2% to the total gold revenue for the country. Is it not frightening? So 65% of the gold wealth is being mined through this, but it contributes less than 2% to the gold contribution to the economy. So nobody can say that the gold is even contributing anything positive to the economy. Apart from royalties that these big companies are paying and the small shares that we have in there, which contributes that 90%, it's pittance. If indeed we have regulated this gold mining regime very well, and we have handled the issue of small-scale mining very well, which constitute that 65%, Ghana should be very wealthy. And we should be resourceful enough to be reclaiming the lands, to be able to regrow the vegetation. And so there's a whole policy discrepancy. There is a whole policy decimation, both from the mining sector to the general development policy and the growth direction of the country. We are completely lost. Apart from the fact that the mining is destroying the lands and they are not being recovered, and the chemicals are going into our water bodies and we are losing the water bodies and we are not getting water to drink. The most striking part is that our policies also do not allow even domestic greening of our vegetation. And so apart from Sir John willing the Achimota forest to his families forever, and they cutting down the trees, people's homes, concrete vegetation is taking over. And so you build a house in Ghana and concrete all over. Nobody grows grass. Nobody grows trees.
You believe we need a policy direction?
We need a serious climate policy direction. And that is what we have in our manifesto. But most importantly, let me spend some small time because of that time on our agro policy and how we think that we can fix this menace.
Because there's been a lot of challenges with food security. There's so much fear. Even the peasant farmers have expressed fear that if the situation persists for the next couple of years, we will be in serious crisis.
Of years, couple of months, not couple of years.
Months.
Next year, we are going to have a food security challenge in this country. And as we speak, President Mahama has put a team together to start rethinking how we can go around the food security challenges that is coming ahead.
So tell me about that policy.
It is huge.
Right.
Now, in our policy prescription, we have proposed that we have an agriculture for economic transformation program.
Okay.
Which program would be an umbrella program to harness the Feeding the Ghana program. The Feeding the Ghana program will have as its key elements, its key highlights, the introduction of the farmer services centers. Now, when we say farmer services centers, it is a comprehensive, all-encompassing center for all farmers.
Okay.
And so farmers' major problem has to do with inputs, access to inputs, the cost of inputs. Now, the access to inputs, there are two types of inputs. There are the fixed inputs and there are the variable inputs. The fixed inputs are land. And so we have to fix the issue of land, which is another big matter which I'll try to address before we leave. Then the other aspect is the variable inputs, which is the seed. Now, access to the seed, the cost of the seed, the quality of the seed has been one of our biggest problems. As we speak, there is an impending scandal at the Ministry of Agric in respect of seed production and seed supplies, as regards even PFJ1 and PFJ2. And very soon, I'm sure you are going to hear about it.
Right.
So seed quality, seed access, seed cost has been a problem. So how do we fix these three problems when it comes to seed? How do we deal with the issue of agrochemicals, pesticides, weedicides, then fertilizer? How do we deal with them? And so President Mahama is proposing this Farmer Services Center as a one-stop shop for all these agro-variable inputs, where you can go and get the inputs at a lower cost, but also at a specialized arrangement where you can pick the inputs, go and use them, and when you farm and you harvest your commodities, those charges will be paid after harvesting. And so now when you want to get a tractor to plow your farm, you will need to pay 500 cedis, between 500 and 450 Ghana cedis. What we are saying is that if these farmer services centers are built in the agro areas, you can go to the farmer services center and go and order the tractor to come and plow your farm at a subsidized rate, at a very lower rate, for example, maybe 150 cedis or 200 cedis. Then, even if you don't have the 200 cedis, you can pick the tractor to go and work for you. Then the value will be calculated so that after harvesting, now the deductions can be done from your harvest. So you go let me pick a typical example. Maybe Sharif wants to do a maize farm, and Sharif goes, has about 5 acres of land. Sharif goes to the Farmer Services Center, procures the services of the tractor. He is paid 200 Ghana cedis per tractor, so that means 1,000 Ghana cedis to plow. Then he goes there, get the tractor, the land is plowed at no cost at all, because the current situation is cash and carry. So Sheriff is done. Now Sheriff is torn between going to borrow money to go and buy seeds and buy fertilizer, buy agrochemicals, and he doesn't have them. The Farmer Services Center has all these agro inputs available.
Okay.
So he picks them, the seeds, he picks the fertilizer, he picks the agrochemicals, he goes, conduct the farming, then that one is also added to the charge of the tractor. When he's done, he wants a harvester to come and harvest the crops for him. He goes there, he picks the harvester, it comes and it does the harvesting. After the harvesting, Sheriff has yielded maybe 100 bags of maize and must sell and go and pay back. But even the burden of the selling now is being lifted off Sheriff, such that at the Farmer Services Center, there is going to be a warehouse which will help you do post-harvest management so that you don't lose your yields after you have harvested them. Then when you have harvested your 100 bags and you go, the Farmer Services Center now will calculate your debt and say that, okay, your debt is of a value of about 5 bags of the maize. So they take the 5 bags of maize without necessarily having to take the cash
money
from you.
you.
Then when you are ready to sell, some farmers will want to keep their commodity for dry season or leaner season so that they can take advantage of higher prices. So when you are willing to sell immediately, there is a Ghana Commodity Exchange which will be modeled alongside or decentralized alongside the Farmer Services Center, at which exchange you can exchange for any other commodity that you want, or in some cases even for cash. But if you are not willing to do that, you can keep it to the time that you want to sell. You have paid your debt and you have your commodity available for you. And how much it is worth is your profit. So we are providing input solution, market solution, and agro management solution, extension services solution, technical solutions for people to motivate them and incentivize them to go into farming. And we want to drive a lot of young people
from the planting for food and jobs model?
Absolutely different. And I'm sure maybe you don't even know about the program implementation arrangements for planting for food and jobs. That's why you're asking this question, because indeed nobody has the policy. I've been making noise about the planting for food and jobs policy from June 10, and I have since not seen the policy. Even the report for PFJ1 it has become cocaine. Right. They said we shouldn't release it. I have followed the ministry. I've gone to the research department. They say it's not available. They are still working on it. So there is no policy prescription. Nobody knows what is going on. If you go to the ministry and you have followed the processes, they have created a platform called GAP, which GAP is now registering farmers. And even that platform and the registration of the farmers is a problem. There is crisis. And so there is so much confusion and opaqueness around the planting for food and jobs, which cannot be deciphered. But what we believe would solve the problem is the one-stop shop Farmer Services Center. And when you have dealt with the problem of the inputs, the technical services, then post-harvest management, and the market, and the business has become more profitable, you will need to look at the other end game, agro-processing. So when you have produced the output, how do you process?
Right.
And that is President Mahama's passion. You see, President Mahama has been a farmer. He was born a farmer, and he has been farming for a very long time. So agriculture is something that is very dear to his heart. And so our Resetting Ghana agenda is actually heralded by agriculture and agribusiness and agro-industrialization.
Right.
And so now we are looking at having agro-industrialization enclaves, agro-industrialization zones, where companies and individuals and investors would be incentivized to set up agro-processing plants. We are looking at applying innovation to agro-products so that we can be able to actually meet our food security needs in entirety. Because the thing about food security is that food security, as most of you know, and as it has been taught in schools, has 4 main legs. So affordability, accessibility, availability, and utilization. Utilization is talking about how nutritious the food is, how beneficial the food will be to the human being. Then accessibility is having access to the food as and when you need it. Affordability is being cheap, and availability is the food being there You understand?
Right.
Whether produced here or from outside.
Right.
But the most important leg of food security, which is recently
what
discovered,
for me.
which is being discovered, is convenience.
Right.
And so, we used to love fufu, we used to love our bank, we used to love TZ, we love Mankaya and PCA. But because of the stress we go through to prepare fufu, it takes 3 hours to prepare fufu.
With palm nut soup.
With palm nut soup. You understand? But it takes only 5 minutes to prepare indomie. So you see, in Ghana, everybody eats indomie.
Everybody's eating noodles.
We are moving away from kenke. We are moving away from our natural food that we consume.
Right.
And this indomie and noodles are processes or are food products that are produced and processed outside the country. That requires importation. And so Ghana, our food are now becoming imported food.
Right.
And that means that you are losing your food sovereignty. You are losing your food security, and that's why when there's Ukraine-Russia war, you go hungry.
And I'm sure that if I leave you, we'll talk for like 3 hours on agric.
I actually need 3 hours.
But before you go, I mean, in a minute, this number has been ringing a lot of bells. And now it looks
Why are you saying this number? Mention the number.
I'm
number
saying
8.
Number 8.
You mentioned the 8.
Yes, I mean,
why are you? Have you become the MPP who are now afraid to mention it?
I mean, I'm showing you the number because
now do you know 8 is an abomination to the MPP. They don't want to hear it.
But they said they are breaking the 8.
Have you heard it again in recent times?
Okay, I've not followed.
They are breaking at 8.
They are breaking at 8.
Oh, they are breaking at 8. Oh, this number 8 will be the 8 that will stop the A.
Okay. I won't pretend to understand.
Oh.
It will be the 8 to what?
That will stop the A.
That will stop the A. Which one
but
is the A?
The Ghana government right now, the Akufo-Addo Boamah government, is an A government.
A.
Are you not shocked?
A.
Enyo Nwangwa.
A.
Enyo Nwangwa.
Oh. Campaign Trail right here on Star today on Star 103.5 FM. And tonight my guest has been Dr. Peter Boamah Otokunor, the NDC's Director of Interparty and Civil Society Relations. He's also spokesperson for the agric subsector, having a conversation with me on the NDC and matters arising. But that's how we draw the curtains on Star today here on Star 103.5 FM. There's more news for you when you do log on to our news website, starfm.com.gh. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah. Good evening.